Hello, friends. In our last session, we had studied about a loss function, how the loss function is used in a neural network, and what are the types of a loss function, and which loss function would be required to use in what particular applications, right? So over here now, our next topic is a optimization technique, or optimization, right? First study what is an optimization technique. So optimization technique is technique which is used to update a gradient descent effectively, right? So this is a technique wherein you need to update the weight effectively in such a way that it will reach to the global minima, right? And if it reaches to the global minimum, my loss would be minimized and my prediction value is very close to the actual value. So there are the different technique to optimize a neural network. One is the batch gradient descent, stochastic gradient descent, mini batch, and an RMS prop. First, have a look on a batch gradient descent. So before going further into the batch gradient descent, let's discuss about a gradient descent. So as we have already studied in a back propagation about a gradient descent, which is used to update the weight, how much weight would be required to update, so that in my next epoch, my loss would get reduced in an respective manner. Correct. It is a base algorithm that is used to minimize the error with respect to the weights of a neural network, and the learning rate determines the step size of a update used to reach minimum. So let's take an example that at an initial level my weight I have randomly initialized and it would be over here, and this is my global minima, and this is a loss function, and I have plotted the graph between the loss function with respect to the weight. So if you'll see over here, if my weight at an initial step is over here, and I'm applying the gradient descent and my weight is getting reduced. So in this case, if you see, my weight is reducing by moving it to the left direction, and my loss is also getting reduced, right? So that's the reason it is called as a positive slope. However, if this weight would be the another side, at this side, right? And I need to reach it to the local minima, and to reach it to the local minima I need to increase the weight, and my loss will be reduced, so the slope would be at this direction. So here my weight is increasing and my loss is reducing, so this is called as a negative slope. Over here my weight is reducing and my loss is respectively is also reducing, so this is a positive slope. Correct. How quickly my initial whatever the weight we have initialized it would reach to the local minima, that is our objective. And how quickly it would reach, it depends on the learning rate, because the learning rate determines the step size of an update, so that it is used to reach the minimum loss value. And for that, we will determine the learning function, learning rate. So learning rate we have already explained, that is a constant, and we need to hyper tune based on the application or based on the use case what we are working on. If the learning rate is too low, then to reach to the local minima it takes a lot of time, my training time size would get increased. And if my learning rate is too high, so my initial weight is over here, and then my weight would come it over here after updating the weight. Then if my learning rate is high, again it would reach over here, and so it oscillates at a very frequent manner, and in between it will lose and it will never reach to the local minima, and my prediction would not be that accurate. So we need to hyper tune the learning rate in such a way so that it will reduce in an effective manner and reach to the global minimum. All right. And this is in a left hand side, this is a 3D picture. Over here I have shown it in a 2D, wherein my loss function or the loss function is respect to one weight. But in this 3D picture, I can determine that my loss function would be dependent on the two weight, so my two weight would be getting reduced or would be dependent on the loss function, right? So over here if you'll see, this is my weight one, this is my weight two, and this is my loss function. So this will oscillate. The weight would go it over here, from here to here, and then here, and then here, and the objective is to reach at a local minimum. Correct. So now what is a batch gradient descent? So in batch gradient descent, we take all the samples in a one iteration and then calculate the minimum loss. So we have a neural network, right? So in the neural network, what it happens, we'll take all the samples which is available with us, will push it into the neural network at one go, and calculate the loss at one go. And then once the loss would be calculated for all the samples, then we'll again back propagate it, update the weight, and then updated weight in my next iteration, the forward propagation, again I will push all the samples and with an updated weight and calculate the minimum loss. So batch gradient descent would help me out to push all the data at one go and then calculate the loss, right? And once the loss would be calculated, then my weight would get reduced by considering all the sample, right? So here is my new weight is equal to old weight minus the learning rate into the loss function for all the samples. Okay, so it is not for a one sample, it is for the all the samples. So if you'll see it over here in a loss function, I have already shown it. mm, uh, One second. Okay, if you'll see uh, over here, just a sec. Okay, what a batch gradient descent says in this case, in this scenario, what we did, that my loss function is a mean squared error. So what we did, we had pushed all these three sample at one go, and when the all the sample has one go, we have taken an average, like for each scenario, for each case we have calculated an error and a squared error, right? And then calculated a mean squared error and divided by the number of a population, and then this error is a loss for all the samples, because we have added all the squared error and then calculated a mean squared error. Okay, so this is a batch gradient descent. My second one is a stochastic gradient descent. Stochastic gradient descent says that one sample goes at each iteration. So once first row, it would calculate the loss, and then in a back propagation it would update the weight. Now in my second epoch, in my second iteration, my second sample goes and it will calculate the loss based on the updated weight, which is already been updated by the in a first iteration during the back propagation, right? So it performs the weight update for each sample at a time. The number of iteration is equal to the number of a sample, and it has a high variance of an update and cause the function to fluctuate. So because in stochastic, it will fluctuate a lot, because at the loss function or a gradient descent would be calculated for each sample. So for one sample my loss would be something, my another sample would be loss, so it will fluctuate a lot. So we'll talk about the stochastic gradient descent in details in later slides. Now the second one is a mini batch gradient descent. The mini batch gradient descent takes the best of both the batch and the stochastic gradient descent. So we have a sample of 100 rows, and now what we'll do, it will not take 100 rows at a one time, we'll take 50 rows and then feed it into the neural network, calculate the loss, do the back propagation, update the weight, and then feed the next 50 samples and calculate the loss based on the updated weight, right? So this is the mini batch gradient descent. So if you'll see the difference between a BGD, SGD, and a mini batch gradient descent is, in a batch gradient descent, all the sample goes into the neural network at a first go, calculate the loss, and then in a second epoch, it will again feed it well, so and calculate the loss and do the backpropagation, update the weight. While in case of a stochastic gradient descent, um, one by one the sample goes into the neural network, update the weight, and then my second sample will go with an updated weight and calculate the loss. While in case of a mini batch, it takes the uh, mini batch, it extract the sample of the whole population, feed it to the neural network, and then calculate the loss, and then pass another batch into the neural network and calculate it. So which one is the best, a batch gradient descent, stochastic, and a mini batch? So it depends upon the what is the volume of a sample you have, what kind of an application you are working on. So if you have numerous amount of data, a huge volume of a data, then this batch gradient descent would not be suggested, because all the calculation would be done in a random access memory, that is in a RAM. So it feeds it, it stays it into the RAM, and the process would be very slow, right? However, the stochastic gradient descent, it doesn't take much memory, but my processing time, because it updates the weight at each iteration, so the oscillations or the fluctuation would be more. However, in mini batch, it takes the best of both. Most of the time, or the recommended one, is a mini batch, and every time whenever we'll we'll feed the sample in a batch way. So if the sample is very less, in 1,000 or 10,000, then you can go ahead with a batch gradient descent. If the sample is very high, the volume is very high, then you can go ahead with a mini batch. And if the sample is with a similar pattern, and for each weight, you know that my all the samples are have a correspond to the similar pattern, then you can go ahead with a stochastic gradient descent. So exponential weighted average, this is one of the optimization technique which is also being used to smoothen during the time series problem, right? So in a stochastic gradient descent, if you see, my weight at each epoch would get fluctuate and or oscillate at a very high level. So at a first epoch, my weight is this. In second sample, my weight would reach over here, and then so it fluctuates a lot, my gradient descent, and it takes a lot of time to reach at a global minima, right? So lot of epochs would be required to reach at a global minima for a stochastic gradient descent. So our objective is to reduce this vertical size so that it would not fluctuate more, and reduce and increase the speed of a horizontal, so that it trains my training time would get reduced, right? So we have an exponential moving average to reduce the oscillation in a vertical direction and speed it up in a horizontal direction, right? So if you see over here, this is the formula of a exponential weighted average, which you have or which you might have seen it during the time series problem if you have worked earlier. So this is the formula. Don't go depth into it how it has been derived. So this is a formula which is known to everyone, that for an exponential weighted average, this formula would be used, right? So this is the exponential weighted average of a gradient descent equal to the beta times of exponential weighted average of a gradient descent at t minus 1 time plus 1 minus beta times of a gradient descent, right? So suppose to weight, every time the weight is reduced, so this blue dot, if you see it over here, it fluctuates a lot, right? And it takes a lot of time to reach at a local minima. So what we'll do, we'll apply this formula to smoothen this process, right? So if you see the red line over here, so they have taken the 10 points and smoothen it so that the average of 10 point would be smooth. So if you see the trend, the red line, the trend is the similar trend, right? But it is more smoothen in this way. So rather than calculating an average for all the point, it's better if you'll go it with a red line, it would reach to the local minima, right? Now if you'll see, if because my beta is a constant, so if I'll take a averaging over a 50 points, my beta is 0.98, and this green line shows how smooth it is, right? It is not oscillating like a green like a blue dots, and it is less oscillating like a red point. So it depends on what application you are using it, and based on that, either you can use the beta 0.9 if your data set is very high and your volume is too large, then you can go ahead with a beta 0.98. If your data set is within uh,
100K and all, then you can go ahead with a beta 0.9, right? So this is a exponential weighted average which is used to smoothen the uh, gradient descent, so that my vertical fluctuation would get reduced and it will reach to the local minima, and my training time would be less as compared to if we are not smoothing, or if we are not taking an exponential weighted average, right? So now what is momentum? So momentum is an extension of exponential gradient descent. And here if you'll see, we have a weight, right? So this is the exponential weighted average, what we have seen it in earlier slide, at beta times of an exponential weighted average of a gradient descent plus 1 minus beta times of a weight, right? And this is for a bias. The next formula is for a bias. So this is what if you calculate the weight, the my weight formula is weight is equal to old weight minus the learning rate into the gradient descent. This gradient descent, we will be replacing it with the exponential weighted average of a gradient descent. So you can see by this formula we have taken an average exponential weighted average of all the gradients, and then replace it with a single gradient descent over here, so that my training time would be increased. And by default the beta size is 0.9. You can play it with a beta size during the feed of a neural network. Similar equation is for the bias. If we have a bias, the bias would also be reduced, need to be reduced, and this is also be calculated by taking an exponential weighted average, right? So the another optimization technique is an RMS prop. So it is an adaptive learning rate, and it is being proposed by the Geoff Hilton. And if you see the lecture 60 course in a course class, it is also available in YouTube. Uh, so Geoff Hilton had derived this equation during the class. So there is no paper for RMS prop while making the student learn. Then and there itself, he had come across with this equation. So as of now, this equation seems to be very complicated, but it is not. I'll just explain you. So RMS prop divides the learning rate by an exponential decaying average of a squared gradient descent. So what it says, so let's come up with this formula, right? So this is my new weight is equal to old weight minus this is the learning rate, and is a learning rate of gradient descent. So at every epoch my learning rate would be decaying with this factor. So this factor is a what we are going to study about it, right? So this is an exponential average. So here the beta value I have kept it as a 0.9, and this is an loss of a gradient descent at t minus 1 in plus is 1 minus beta, that is 1 minus 0.9 comes at 0.1, and that is a gradient descent square. Over here if you see, I have squared the gradient descent. So I'll square the gradient descent because later on, if I'll take the square root of a gradient descent, then it would become a gradient descent. So if I'll take a square root of a square of any value, it would become the same value, right? So why I have taken a square? Because if I'll take a square of a small value, my value is reduced exponentially. And if I'll uh, take a square of a high value, my value is exponentially increased. So for example, if I'll take a square of 0.1, it would reduce as 0.01, and if I'll take a square value of 5, it would become 25, right? So that's why we took a square of that, and then the learning rate for every epoch would be the learning rate divided by the square root of an exponential weighted average. So this is the formula of an exponential weighted average, and it will this they have divided it with a learning rate, right? So my learning rate is decaying at every epoch. So that's why it is saying that RMS prop divides the learning rate by an exponentially decaying average of a squared gradient descent, right? So this is what this example I have took it from here. So if you'll see, this formula is an exponential weighted average, and the value of beta is 0.9, and we kept it over here. This vt minus 1, we have kept replace it with a gradient descent square, and this is also a gradient descent square, and then we have taken a square root of this and then divided this square root by a learning rate. So my learning rate is changing. So we can use the exponential moving average to reduce the oscillation in a vertical direction and speed it up in a horizontal direction, right? So now come up with an Adam optimization. So Adam optimization, if you'll see, it takes an advantage of a momentum and the uh, RMS prop. So the formula of momentum is beta 1, uh, this gradient descent of 1 minus beta 1 of gradient descent, while the RMS prop, the formula is the exponential average of beta 2 Vt minus 1 and 1 minus beta 2 gradient descent ka whole square. So what we did it to prevent it from the zero, this empty one would be divided by 1 minus beta 1 as to do the bias correction so that it would not reach to the zero. So anything divided by zero would become an infinity and invalid. So to prevent it, we have used this particular formula, right? So now the final update of an Adam optimization is the my new rate is equal to the old rate minus the learning rate. This is a learning rate into my momentum. Over here in the momentum also we have multiplied the exponential weighted average by learning rate, and this learning rate we have uh, reduced it with a RMS prop value. In RMS prop value, what we have done it, we have decaying the learning rate divided by the square root of an exponential weighted average, right? So this is a learning rate change. So and this is an exponential weighted average. So we have taken an advantage of both the momentum and an RMS prop and put it into this. So most probably, and this is a recommended one, if you're not aware of what optimization technique needs to be used, by default use an Adam because it is the most effective way of using it, and it helps your weight to fluctuate less, and your training time would also be getting reduced exponentially, right? So this is an Adam optimization technique in. So we have covered as of now we have covered the feed propagation, backward propagation, loss functions, optimization technique, and activation function, right? So in our next session, we would be talking more about a PyTorch, or I'll create a separate session for a PyTorch, and we'll study more on the CNN and RNN, LSTM, and other part of a theory session of the neural network. Okay, hope this session would be informative and helpful for you. In case of any doubt, you can mail me and you can reach out to me by putting your comments in a below remark, right? Thanks a lot.